Today on Riffs, Beards, and Gear, we check out the must-have for any tube amplifier owner, the Brownie from AmpRx. So last year, I showed you guys the BrownBox 2 from AmpRx. Now this is a voltage attenuator, really kind of designed for vintage amp circuits and vintage amps and, amps that you like to sag out. However, for us modern folk that like, big powerful Diesels and, Bogners and stuff, what if we wanted to go up in voltage? There was no solution, but there is now. We're gonna talk about the Brownie from AmpRx. And before we go any further, this video is sponsored by AmpRx. They asked me to show you the Brownie. However, they do not get any input on what I say in this video. And, all thoughts and opinions are mine. So first, let's establish some ground rules. The Brownie is not an attenuator and it is not a regulator. It is a voltage controller based on the amp voltage coming from your wall going to your amplifier, okay? Let's dive into that a little bit. So here I have the BrownBox 2, which I previously made a video about, and I have the Brownie for this video. Now, the BrownBox 2 is an attenuator. It only goes down. It reduces voltage, whereas the Brownie can go down 7 volts, but up 5 volts. That's an important distinction. So if you play on the weekends with your tube amplifier of any maker model or tour, it behooves you to take a look at the Brownie. Now, I have told this story before on the channel. However, the big moment for me of switching from tube amps for touring to a digital solution, Fractal, Helix, what have you, was we showed up to a club, I think it was in St. Louis. There was a single power strip for the entire stage. Yes, that's true. And the voltage coming out of the wall, I remember specifically, was 105 volts. It made my orange rock reverb sound like a broken Electro-Harmonix Big Muff. It was awful, and there was nothing I can do about it because modern power conditioners are very reactive for things like power spikes, but there is nothing to really regulate and up the voltage if you need more juice for your amplifier, unless we're talking about solutions that are, rack mount $10,000, $20,000 for medical equipment. That's not what the Brownie is. The Brownie is a simple solution for one amplifier to finely tune and dial in the voltage going to your tube amp so you sound good. You want to sound good, don't you? So another use case for the AmpRx Brownie is a studio situation. Now, for me personally, my voltage here at the house kind of drifts over the course of the day, as low as 117 and as high as 121 volts, all right? So depending on if it's a weekend, high usage in the neighborhood, et cetera, I could use the Brownie to fine tune the sound that I need for my amplifiers or even something like my studio monitors. Very, very handy to have. All right, we have the Brownie here on the desk, and for comparison's sake, I have the BrownBox 2 next to it, and you can see the size difference is significant, and every little bit counts when you're traveling in any capacity, whether you're just going to the gig for the weekend or touring in a professional manner. Every little bit of space really counts. So the Brownie is, I would say, significantly smaller than the BrownBox 2. So just so we know the differences between the two, I will get the BrownBox out of there. Now let's focus on the Brownie. Currently, I'm using my signature Corey Wong Ernie Ball Music Man guitar straight into a Bogner Uberschall Ultra, right? Uberschall Mark II amplifier. I am on bypass right now for the Brownie, and it sounds like this. Now the Brownie can go up 5 and down 7. Let's go ahead and sag this thing out, shall we? My wall voltage usually teeters between upper high 119 and lower 120 volts, okay? So you will see it, yeah, so you can see it changing, but yeah, 119, 120, Let's go down 1 volt. I don't really hear much of a change. Let's go down 1 more volt. I think I'm hearing some fizziness in the top end, maybe? I'm not totally sure. Let's go down another volt, see what we hear. $117, I'm feeling some sag in the playing, the way the note kind of comes off the fretboard and off the string. It feels like tube rectification or something like that. Let's go down another volt. 116 volts, 115 volts. We're getting down there. I'm hearing some fizziness. I'm feeling quite a bit of sag now. Let's go down another volt. 114 volts. I'm hearing quite a bit of fizz, less low end and more up, and maybe that's leaving more room for some upper mids. Maybe? Pretty sure. It feels very saggy now when I'm playing it. Let's go down some more. 113 volts. Let's get it. Saggy boy. All right. Last one. 112 volts. I mean, we are starving this amplifier at this point. I don't think that sounds bad. It's just much less tight. It's really sagging. Honestly, it's very, very usable for like a rock kind of setting. Obviously, not like, it's not a super metal sound or anything like that, but it's nice, and I like how musically crunchy it is. Pretty good. Now, let's go back up to full voltage. We're not just going to take the Brownie and just spin it. You'll pop a fuse, so I hear. We're just going to slowly bring it up, all right? I'm basically gonna wait for the voltage to stabilize before I go up another volt. Goes up to 1.2, back down to 0.9 amps. Giving the amp a little bit more. Back to getting tighter now. And finally, we're gonna bypass it. Now we're back up to full voltage. Now, in this particular instance, I'm totally good to go voltage-wise, but if I was in a club, like I have been in the past with tube amps, and I was running or receiving 115 volts out of the wall, I could then bump this up with the voltage to achieve my ideal 120. All right, so I can go up 2 and then up 3 from that. So basically up 5, down 7. I can basically hit my amplifier with the ideal voltage in any general situation, unless it's super extreme. Also, if you're running off a generator, if you're outside at a festival or something like that, voltages can be very, very wild when you hit the stage. All right, so that is the Brownie from AmpRx. So what do I think? The Brownie is a fantastic solution for sound quality for your tube amplifier. If you have a tube amplifier of, honestly, any level, and I'm not talking about just boutique level amplifiers, but anything $1,000 and up, you should definitely check out the Brownie to fine tune and polish the sound coming out your amp. I will link down below in the description if you'd like to know more about the Brownie and all things AmpRx. And with that, you've been wonderful. I've been Fluff. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.